right, here we are. Welcome back, Red Eyes members. We are talking with Michael Wynn from HollywoodInsiders.net about his documentary series on black magic, the occult, and the esoteric. A very interesting conversation, basically about the different styles of magic that we've seen throughout the world. We've been talking about the Necronomicon, the origins of that, and how some of these texts have been carried through. They've been used by the global elite, the Illuminati, we can call them in this case, and they have obviously gotten an upper hand, so to speak, in their agenda, as opposed to normal, regular people who just want to live their lives and enjoy their time on this planet. And we're going to talk a little bit later about the Illuminati and basically how they have gotten so powerful with the use of the occult and things like this. But Michael, I would like to begin to ask you a little bit about John Dee, Edward Keeley, and basically their system of Enochian magic. As you mentioned before, you mentioned that John Dee basically, or potentially then, is one of the translators of the Necronomicon as well. And how do you think that particular work has influenced John Dee's and Edward Kelly's development of Enochian magic?
Well, I'm not quite sure. It's hard to tell where John Dee got his information from, because you can conjure spirits and get more magical knowledge from them. So you don't exactly need the symbol for every single demon in order to rewrite magic. You can just keep asking questions, and you conjure up one demon and get from him a symbol and the correct invocations to conjure up another spirit. So it doesn't have to have a clear route. Why he decided to translate the Necronomicon, it's only because it's so loaded with information, and I guess there's no need to rewrite or reinvent the wheel there.
I see what you mean, because again, the evidence for the fact that this is working as well is probably also included in the consistency of many of the occult writings, meaning that if they develop a system that actually works, meaning that you can get in contact with these beings, you can conjure them up or use them for various reasons, then that wouldn't have changed throughout occult literature. They would keep to the similar path, so to speak. And speaking of that, if we tie this in more than with the Illuminati, for instance, as I mentioned before, they've gotten very powerful. They have the upper hand, at least on the surface level right now. Obviously, that there seems to be that their agenda is progressing. I do feel that there's another side to that story as well, and that we actually can see the breakdown of their system as well, kind of going hand in hand. Maybe we can talk more about that later on. But what can you say more about the Illuminati and why they've gotten so powerful and their use of the occult? They've used these abilities in order to gain the upper hand, right, Michael?
Oh, absolutely. Firstly, they use secrecy. Secrecy and disbelief is their number one weapon. Secondly, magic is not only quite real, but you can use it to make financial decisions. The spirits can hear things and know the future trends of things. And so it's a good source of getting financial information and a lot more. They have abilities that they've kept quiet, and this has been a force multiplier for them. I mean, they can get information, from distant places. They can find out what's happening in some other room with a conference. They can hear the future for the most part. They can get a glimpse of the past. So the abilities are wide ranging.
I mean, one interesting thing there in terms of John Dee as well. He did something called skyring, basically looking into, well, the idea of the crystal ball, the archetypal kind of magician symbol right there. But it's a kind of, for people who want to have a more modern reference, the Palantir from Lord of the Rings, for instance, a very similar object, just a big round bowl, a crystal ball, basically, where you can look into that. It's kind of an organic television, or whatever you want to call it. You can look into it and to see what happens in other places, potentially even in other times. You can predict the future with this as well. And of course, interesting speculation around this is if there actually still exists, if you will, then this technology, if that still exists to this day. Do the Illuminati have access to this kind of organic technology, crystal technology. They can see things ahead into time. They can see the future. They can see what's happening in other areas. What do you think about that, Michael? Do you think that they have a more of a occult science and an occult technology that we haven't even seen the lights of, regular people, so to speak?
No, I think that very few of their methods have changed. And as for crystal ball, that there's nothing technological about that. That is absolutely a spirit. When it comes to predicting the future, what machine, short of analyzing a trend, can predict the future? But these spirits have a much better shot. They can't see through free will, so they can't see past every single decision, but they can calculate the odds of a certain event occurring. And this gives you a great advantage in regards to, making financial decisions and things like that. But no, there's nothing technical about it. They've been using these very same methods for a long time. And as for the scrying and the mirror, a mirror is often used as something to see into the spirit realm, because it's easier to see a spirit in a room or anywhere through a mirror than it is directly.
Why is that, do you think?
I have no clue. From what I've gathered, it's just the spirit world is kind of like a mirror world. Forgive the term, but it's like a mirror image of our world, and I would never even speculate on the mechanics behind it. But apparently, it's much easier you're likely to see a spirit in a mirror first, and then you'll see it in front of you directly.
I know that the royal families had these in the past. These they call them the mirror halls. There's another term for it. I think it's called psychomantium, basically where and some amusement parks still have some of these as well, which is kind of interesting. But basically a hall of mirrors where you basically are like a labyrinth. It's structured as well. So you go into one end of it and trying to find your way through it. But in this process, there is a potentiality as well then to get in contact with some of these beings and deities as well. And that's just kind of an interesting side note to that mirrors seems to be holding a special kind of significant when it comes to getting in contact with demons, Michael.
Yeah. It's not even a theory. It's very well known among magicians that you're likely to see them in a mirror before anything.
Let's see here. I want to talk a little bit about later on here as well about the different demons. I guess their properties as well. This is something that you go into in your film. There's so many different names. There's so many different layers. I can't remember exactly now what the Enochian magic system has. I think it was 42 or something like that. 42 demons in all. I don't know if the Necronomicon brings up how many there are or what have you. Some people have mentioned 72. I've seen here and there, like from the Goetia, I think it's called the Geisha magic system.
Right. 72.
72. So there's different kinds and there are different properties, and sometimes as well, as we mentioned before, you can even end up in a situation where we have the same deity, but they obviously have different names. I mean, if we talk about Sumerian mythology again, we have Enki, Anu, Enlil, we have Ea as well, but these come up with other names in other writings. Isn't that right, Michael? Tell us a little bit about this and how you kind of go about breaking some of these different deities down.
Well, I have heard different numbers, but that's depending on what you consider to be the head demons and how many are considered heads. In what you would mention, the 72, you'll hear different numbers, but mainly what you'll hear is a good 8 to 12 names. Baal, Lucifer, Satan, Moloch, Astaroth, Beelzebub, Belial, Samael, Lilith, who is the whore of Babylon, Leviathan, Azazel, and Asmodeus, who appears to be among their worst. So those are the top ones. And from there, you will mainly get a lot of overlap, meaning you'll hear a name here that was also mentioned in the Necronomicon, but a lot of the names in the black magic manuals are, for the most part, the same, the head demons. You would conjure a head demon in order to have him assign work to somebody else. Sometimes when you cast a spell, it's not the demon that you conjured that actually goes out and executes it. He just goes assigns some of his